What's up everybody, Deutschbag here, and today we're going to be going over how you can automatically update your Ark server.
Apologies,
Alright, so a couple of things before we get started. The first thing is that I want to thank ArkSurvival.net for providing the scripts needed and the resources needed to actually get this done. Some of them have been modified by me, but overall they provided me with a method to do it, and I did it, and it works well. So we're going to do that. Second thing is that if you're not familiar with PowerShell, this can be a little frustrating, but try and stick with me, and as long as you can kind of read along and pause if you have to, it will definitely help you. Lastly, if I seem to pause a little bit, it's because I have a script that I'm kind of going off of for this, only because there's a lot to do, and I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything so that when you try and do this on your server, everything goes as smoothly as possible. So if you followed along with my last tutorial, you have a folder structure very similar to mine. At least you should. I have C Game Servers Ark, and then within there I have Ark Server Launcher and Steam CMD. You will need Steam CMD for this, so make sure that you have that. Some other things that you're going to need are PowerShell 3. If you're not familiar with PowerShell, it is a built-in feature of Windows. You just need to make sure that you have the correct version. And you can do that by opening up PowerShell, and you can type in PS, $PS, and then version table.ps version. And what that'll do is that'll tell you what your major version is, and this is 4, so I'm perfect on this. If it's less than 3, you will need to install that, and I will provide that link for you in the description. So as I said, you're going to need Steam CMD, and you'll also need a program called MCRcon, which I will provide in the description. You'll also need all of the update files that I will provide for you, again in the description. And what we will do, let me just give you a quick overview of what these are. So the main script is the update script. This is what's going to run on the server. This is what's going to tell people, hey, the server is going to update, and then it's going to actually shut your server down, save your world, shut the server down, and do the update. Manual update is just, it's basically another script that I don't want to say I wrote it, because I basically copied everything from here and removed the features that I didn't need, but basically what this does is it just shuts down your server and does the update instead of actually waiting. I have a 30-minute window so that people can finish up anything they're doing. But yeah, it removes that 30-minute window, just it forces your server to shut down and update. Safe shutdown is something you can do. Like, some people like to restart their server, like once a day, just to clean things up, and or if you just need to save the world and shut it down for another reason. Maybe you just have like Windows updates that need to be done and it needs to restart. So it's just a way to do that. The .cmd files, I'll explain a little bit more once we actually use them. This needs to be in your Steam CMD directory, and I'll show you that probably once we get there too. So, alright, so first things first, let's copy our scripts over. So these .ps1 files, and we're also going to bring these .cmd files over, because this is what we need to actually run those. So update.cmd, okay. So copy those files, paste them all. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 files that you're bringing over, and those will go in the main directory. Those have to be in the main directory, or this will not work. The other thing is that we need the updateark.txt, so we're going to move that into the Steam CMD folder. Okay, we got that. Now we have a startserver.bat. This is what we're going to use to actually start up our server. So let me back here, we're going to go into our main Arc directory, shooter game, content. Nope, my bad. It's not. It's binaries, Windows 64, or sorry, Win64, and then we're just going to dump it right in this directory here. And while we're here, I'd like to make a shortcut. You can just right-click on the start server.bat and send it to your desktop. That way, you have a nice little shortcut on your desktop to start your Arc server. We'll call it Arc start. Okay. So that is done. Now let's go back to the main Arc directory again. And this MC Archon folder, we're going to take that and paste it in. So now we should have, yes, we have everything that we need over there. So here's where things are going to start to get complicated. So first, let us talk about the main script.ps1. If you right click on it and hit edit, it should open up with PowerShell ISE. And let's discuss what's happening here. And I'm going to try and make this as easy as possible. Like I said, if you're not into PowerShell or not very good at it, if you have a basic understanding of PowerShell, you should be fine. If you don't, like I said, this might be a little bit intimidating. Just follow with me. So, okay, we are looking for our Steam CMD folder. This is the variable for. These are all the variables right here, and this one we're looking for our Steam CMD folder. So, if you remember, it was located in on our C drive in Game Servers Arc. Arc Server Launcher, right here. Steam CMD, right here. Next one, we're looking for the actual Arc Survival folder, which is just our main server folder, so that's C Games Arc. The Steam script is going to be update_arc.txt. That's the one that we moved into our Steam CMD folder. So let me show you that one. That was this file right here. And when you open that up, you'll also need to make sure that you reference your game folder, or sorry, your server folder. So C Game Servers Arc. That's where we're going to install when Steam CMD runs. So let me get out of there. Archon IP, as long as you're running this on your local server, which I recommend, this is fine. That's just your loopback address. Archon port, this is what we set up in our tutorial. This might be different for you, so make sure you change that. Archon password, this is what we had set up in Archon. So you want to make sure that is your Archon password. Or sorry, that's not what we set up in Archon. That's what we set up in the server launcher when we set up our server. So make sure that is your correct admin password. Here we've got the start arguments. If you're running a server, you should be familiar with your start arguments. The only thing that you're going to see different here is that the Archon port is a variable instead of setting that statically. So your Archon port here and your start arguments is actually going to pop up as 27020. And what I've done actually, I'll tell you what. Let me finish up with the script first. So you want to find the MC Archon executable, which is, where am I? So we put the MC Archon folder here. And it's not really an executable, or is it? Yeah, it is. So just want to make sure that you have this location correct. So game servers arc, MC Archon, arc MC Archon, MC Archon.exe. Steam app ID, you can leave that because that's the app ID that we want. And all of the other variables down here, you don't need to change because these are variables that the script uses itself. So don't worry about any of those. Those are fine. So let me get back. Okay, so what I was gonna say before is the survival start arguments. So you have this line right here. This is what you want to use for this startup script. And the only difference is that in your start server.bat, you need to put start shootergameserver.exe, and then make sure that you have that whole line in there. But the only difference is with this, you cannot use the Archon port variable. So if you copy paste this line, make sure that you remove this Archon port variable. And where's my Archon port, and actually put the port number in there. So Archon port is 27020. If you leave it with the variable, Archon will not work. Actually, I'm not even sure if the server will launch because it may break the launch. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I want to show you those other. So actually, what I did then is, if you have to make a bunch of changes to this to match your environment, just copy this lines 1 through 20, and you can actually then paste this in these other scripts. So I'm going to open up the manual update, and I'm also going to open up safe shutdown. So here's manual update. As you can see, all of the variables are the same. And oh, actually, I forgot to point something out. So what this is doing, like I said, if you know PowerShell, you can probably read through this and see what's happening. So I'm not gonna get too crazy on it, but this is the part I wanted to get to. I have a 30-minute window built in, and here you can see that this will broadcast to people on the server. It'll say the server is restarting in 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, and they'll say that the server is restarting. It uses MC Archon for all of that, and then it'll also use that to save world. Use the save world command. And then as it goes down, that's when it actually kills the server process. It starts the update script. And then it goes to relaunch the server so that people can rejoin it again. Okay, so yeah, now that we got that out of the way. Manual update. So this basically does all the same things, but you can see it's much shorter, and it does everything except for notify people that the server is going down, because a lot of times what will happen is if I run into a problem and I want to manually update and there's nobody on the server, I'll just run this manual update script, and then it will do just that. The other one I have is the safe shutdown, and what this will do is it will just save the world and shut down your server. Again, I already kind of explained why this is a good thing to have. You know, if you have to do Windows updates, if you have to shut down the server for some reason, it's always good just to do that world save, and then you can properly shut it down. So let me just check my script real quick and make sure that I'm covering everything that I need to cover. Okay, so one other thing we would need to do, and we don't necessarily have to do this, but so update CMD is the original .cmd file, and what this does is it checks your version of PowerShell to make sure that you have the correct version of PowerShell. If you don't, it will yell at you. But then what it also does is it will check or set your PowerShell execution policy to unrestricted only temporarily, and it does that so that it can run the main script to do the update. I messed that up. If you don't use this .cmd file, that's fine, but you need to set your execution policy to unrestricted, and then you would just set up your PowerShell scripts to run instead of using the .cmd file. So I have one for the main script, which we'll set that up to do some periodic updates. I have one for safe shutdown. So for this, I actually want to create a shortcut on my desktop just so I can do the shutdown when I need to. So we'll call it safe shutdown. And then we have the manual update. So we'll do that. Okay, so now I have shortcuts to all of those icons. So that is awesome because now I don't have to, dig down into this directory to get things running. So now that we have shortcuts all done, we need to tell our Arch server that, hey, you need to update every, like I like to check for updates every 15 minutes. I like to have a server that's always up to date. You don't have to check that often, but like I said, I like to have the latest content, and sometimes you can break. If they do like a full version, like say they go from like 231 to .23, or sorry, 231 to 232. You really need to do that update, otherwise the people whose game client's updated, they won't be able to play, and you always want to be able to have people playing on your server. So what we need to do is go into Task Scheduler, and let me, minimized it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to, I think you can just do create a basic task. I think that will, We'll see how this goes. So create a basic task. We're going to call this Ark Server Update. And we'll say updates the Ark server, as if you couldn't tell from the name. When do we want to do this? We're going to set this to 1 time, and I'll explain why a little bit later. So what time? It is 6:42 right now, and I am confident in my abilities. We're going to say 6:50, and actually we hope that we finish a little bit before that, but don't need to do that. What action or task do you want to perform? We're going to start a program. And what we're going to do then is we're going to browse to Ark, our main Ark directory, update.cmd. So we should be good there. Next. Sounds good. We're going to run it at 650, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, so now that we have that done, we're going to go into the task scheduler library, and we have Ark server. So go to the properties, and this just shows you all the information that we had on there before. And the one thing that we do need to change is, let me find it. Was it in here? Here we go. So in triggers. So actually, let me get out of here. On the triggers tab, make sure you highlight this and hit edit. And the way we have it set up right now, it's only going to run 1 time, and it's going to run at 6:50, so we have 6 more minutes. The other part of that is we want it to run like every 15 minutes, because if it doesn't, it's not going to keep checking for updates. So we want to repeat this task every 15 minutes, and for duration of indefinitely. And then we should be all set. Okay. So now our server should automatically update. Let's start our server. So this is going to take a little while, like it always does. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can really explain while we are doing this. The biggest thing is just to make sure that you know your environment. You need to know where everything is located in order to do this. So, know where your Steam CMD folder is, know where your main Ark server folder is. This update _ark.txt, you need to put that in your Steam CMD directory. Leave these defaults if you left your setup as default. Password. Really just knowing those things. That if you know these top lines up here, you're going to be just fine. If you don't know them, this may be a little bit too advanced for you, and you may want to, I don't want to say reconsider hosting a server, but just make sure that the people who are connecting to your server know that you're going to be doing manual updates using the Ark server launcher, and that they may not be able to play at all times. This is a great way to keep your uptime very high. Another thing is, like I said, I didn't write these scripts, and I know they can be written. Can be written? Is that? Yep. Okay, we're going to go with that. That they could be written better. I just don't have the time to go through them and and rewrite them. For example, here they're storing the latest available update and the latest installed update in text files, which doesn't really make sense to me because you could just check those variables, and if they're different, or if one's higher than the other, then you could just update. And so I don't know. There's some stuff that's done a little bit weird in here. But again, I'm not going to take the time to rewrite them. So if you want to, and you come up with a better script, post a link in the comments. I'd be happy to take a look at it and give it a shot. This is still starting up. Come on, Arc. I know you can do it. So one other thing that I can mention is if we go, well, I won't go back into Task Scheduler, but in Task Scheduler, one thing you could also do is, like I said, some people like to do a shutdown, maybe once a day. So say nobody's going to be playing on your server at 5 in the morning. You could also set up a task to shut down your server at 5 in the morning. And then maybe at 5:05 or 5:02 or something like that, you can use your startup batch file to start the server back up, and then you have a clean restart. And I don't know. Like I said, some people like to do it. I typically don't. I may start doing that depending on how things pan out once I move my my other server over to my other Arc server over to this device. We're 2 minutes away from 650, so this will run at 650, but I'm just going to go ahead and manually run it. And what's going to happen is, well, it is being a putz. Alrighty, so I figured out why the script was not running automatically, and this is something that you should know. So I'm actually kind of glad it happened because I can point it out now. So another weird thing that script does is when there's an update in progress, it creates a a file, update in progress.dat. If this file is here, those scripts cannot run again and can't start the update process, and that's what it's there for. It's to stop it from interrupting an update that's already in progress. So if for some reason your scripts aren't running, go ahead, delete update in progress.dat, and now I can show you. Here we go. So here you can see it's checking for an update, and I don't know if it's gonna find one. Okay, so it did find a update, and that's awesome because now you can kind of see what happens here. So what it's doing is it says server received but no response. What that means is that MC Archon sent the message to the server saying, hey, there's 30 minutes until the server's going to shut down. And then what's going to happen is it'll happen again. I think there's 4 messages because it does it at 30, 15, 5 minutes, and 1 minute. And then, wait, 30, 15, 5, and 1. And then the final one says server is shutting down. So there's 5 messages, I believe. And then it'll actually shut down and do the update. Since we don't want to wait 30 minutes, let's close out of there. And let's, because I closed that, this update in progress.data is going to be stuck there. So let's get rid of it. And let's actually run our Arc manual update script. That way you can actually kind of see what it does. So it's going to check for the update. You can see the update is in progress with the little update in progress.dat. It's going to find an update. It's going to save the world. And this should close in just a second. Yep, sent termination signals. Okay, so it closed down the server. And now we wait. So here it goes. This is where it actually goes into Steam CMD. It runs through the script that we had in that folder. Looks like it did a force update, and okay, so it is actually already up to date. I don't know exactly why it did that this time around, but There is a little pause at the end of the script. What it's going to do is it's going to pause for maybe 30 seconds or so, and then it is going to relaunch the server. So we will give it just a little bit of time. And we'll give it a little bit more time. Boop, doop, boop, boop. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll actually just come back once the server is ready to start back up. All right, so the server is back up, and we're all good. We're up to date. We're gravy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to put everything, all the links for everything in the description. I'm also going to take this whole Ark server, and I'm going to zip that up, and I will also make that available for download. And it'll have all of these update scripts and stuff like that in there already. So if you create a folder on your C drive called Game Space Servers there, and drop the Ark folder in there, this should all just work. Obviously, you'll need to still schedule the task. You'll need to create your cool little icons on the desktop there, but everything else will already be set up to work in this directory. So you'll be able to get your Ark server up and running pretty quickly. As usual, if you guys have any comments, any questions, definitely put them in the description. Also, if this video helped you out, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.